welcome to Adventures in Black and White, and this is going to be my series of tutorials on how to fit quarter sheets for exercise. So in this first tutorial we're going to concentrate on the standard traditional quarter sheet. So let's get her unwrapped and we'll start. So here I have a traditional quarter sheet. As you can see, it's basically like a rug but without the straps. This is a Whitney blanket, not a Newmarket blanket. I worked in racing for 15 years and I also come from Whitney. And yes, these are used in racing. It is a heavy wool which originates from Whitney, and this colour is actually the colour that they would make them in. So that's why it is actually a Whitney blanket and not a Newmarket blanket. But yes, you do see these on racehorses. So this is like the thickest sort of exercise sheet that you would use. You can also get waterproof ones or light fleece ones, Tack ones. I use this actually quite a lot of the year. It's quite versatile in its use, as I will show you. And it's fairly waterproof, this one. So if you want one blanket to do a lot of jobs, I would recommend one of these. They are an investment, but they're well worth it. So when I start putting on tacking it with an exercise sheet, first I will put on my saddlecloth. I find that poly pads work the best, but I'm going to show you how to use the exercise sheet with both poly pad and a standard saddle pad. Let's go. Here I have my poly pad. She's a bit shy today. So when we put this on, because it's quite long, you want to have some of it up the neck so that it gives you some warmth on the neck. I'll show you that in a minute. So as you can see, it's a little bit up her neck. And it also doesn't come quite over her bum. You don't want it hanging off her bum because that will cause her to get a fright maybe when it's windy. So you just need to make sure that it just sits at the top of the tail. There's no point in hanging off there because it's not doing you any good anyway. I like using fillet strings on these because if she gets hot I can flip it up. But you might want to use a fillet string if your horse is a little bit more flighty. And also these are quite heavy, so they don't really need them. So next we put the saddle on. Okay, at this point she's being quite unhelpful. You just make sure that your pad is not wrapped up underneath, and then what I do is I fold it a little bit at the front. I have a double flap saddle, so this is how I do it on this. I'll show you how you do it with a mono flap in a minute. I lift up my flap and I put the triangle back under here. Now by doing that, you give somewhere for your leg to go. You can, on these, put them through the girth loop. But I find with those, they just pull and pull everything back. And if you fit this properly, it won't move. And if you remember, when we ride racehorses, we don't have pads with girth loops on at all or anything. And we'll probably have about 4 different pads, including one of these. And they never move because if they're put on properly and fitted correctly, they won't move. So, fold it back, make a triangle, put it under here. Okay? I will show you that closer up. So because she wasn't being very helpful, I'll just show you what I did. So as you can see, this is a standard dressage saddle. As you can see, I've just folded this bit back here. And then this is going to be quite hard. Hang on. And there you see where I've folded it under. Okay, right then. Now I'm going to do the same, the other side, and then she's all good to go. So we've had to move because she didn't want to stand where she always stands, and she's decided she's standing on this wall, which when I put the saddle on, she'll probably swing over here. But anyway, so if you don't want to use a poly pad and you want to use a sanders saddle cloth like this, then I'm just going to show you how you can fix this securely and use the exercise sheet as I do. You probably don't want to put it as far forwards as I did with just the poly pad, because you're going to have to get these straps around it. So if you just you want to make sure that the back seam is in the middle and that your pad underneath is in the right place. I'll just show you what you do when you put the saddle on. Okay, just let me move this so you can see the saddle. Right, there we go. So as you can see, we're not going to fold this back like I did the last time. That's really hot. What we're going to do, lift this to put under there. Put the first girth strap through the girth loop here. And then get this strap and attach it however you'd normally attach it. And there we go. And as she wasn't cooperating, she's feeling like that today, as you can see, it's not quite as neat as when you have the other way, but that is all secure. You could possibly pull this pad a little bit further back, because I wouldn't maybe have it quite that far forwards. But as long as your saddle pad goes beyond where your saddle is, then you won't have any problems. I always use a saddle cloth or a poly pad underneath my exercise sheet. I don't like putting the exercise sheets directly on horses' backs because this is actually quite difficult to wash. It's dry clean only. And you don't need to be washing this all the time when you can wash your pads, and it's just a bit more hygienic. But as you can see, that fits well. And you see at the back here, it's not touching her tail. So this is a good all-round sheet that I'd use pretty much all year round, and especially like we're in May now and it's still cold. So when we go out on a frosty morning, we use this.